Today we're doing an epic pizza party.
New York style! Oh, made with a classic pizzeria sauce and all your essential pizza toppings.
Oh, that is good, but can we talk crust?
Oh, wow. Folks, after one bite, you're gonna say, forget about it.
Forget about it. Oh my gosh.
Guys, it's the father of the father of the father of the pizzas.
We have been on a mission. So we love making pizza. We've been making pizza since we were kids.
Yeah.
And pizza is, I think even just the art of making pizza has evolved over generations. And so we decided a while ago, this way in advance, we want to do New York style pizza.
We've done all these other pizzas, but not New York.
Yeah. And we lived on New York pizza for many years. And so there is
99 cents a slice.
That's right. It's so good. So, but we knew we needed to do some research and we needed to go find the experts and learn from them. So Tony Gimignani.
Yes. He is
the master. I'm telling you, he has won every award there is to win. There are brilliant pizza makers out there, but we learned so much.
He literally wrote the Bible.
He wrote the pizza Bible. That's not a joke. So we studied him, and so we're presenting to you today pretty much his method for making a really classic.
With some changes that we had to make throughout the process.
So that's a good point because Tony says that. He says that the recipe is really a guideline. You got to do this. You got to practice, and we have been practicing, you guys. And we think we're going to be able to show you.
You want to know how many times we've been practicing?
This is pizza number 2. We started studying probably about 2-3 months ago. But anyway,
bowl of pizza.
Yes. So Tony says the recipe is a guideline. You're going to learn as you make these, as you practice. You're going to get to know the feel of the dough when it feels right.
You're going to get to know the temperature of your oven.
There are small variations that can go from one pizza maker to another that can make a huge difference in the end result of the pizza, and the oven is one of them. And so you're going to be able to eyeball and learn, like, I don't need to cook that quite as long as the recipe said, and you learn, and that's what we've been doing.
We got it. I think we got it.
We do. I think so. But even the ones that were early on, they were still delicious. They weren't a failure. We just didn't. We were inching our way to that classic New York crust. You want a little crispy exterior, chewy.
Yes.
Thin.
So
there's a few things. There's some investments you need to make, and I'm not just talking monetary. There's you're going to want to. There's 3 things. There's some tools. We're doing this for home cooks with a conventional oven. Some of us have like those big wood burning pizza ovens. This isn't for that. This is so you can do this in your oven. So you need to buy a few things, but they're not real expensive. But we'll go over that in just a moment. There's some ingredients. Ingredients obviously are super important. We'll talk about that in just a moment. And then the other investment is time. Yeast needs time to do its thing. It needs to feed, and we need to give it time to do that to get the ultimate pizza. So let's go and talk about the tools that you're going to need to have. You're going to need a digital scale, just like a kitchen scale. You're going to need what's called a palm scale that registers to 0.01 grams. It just measures very minute amounts of ingredients. You're going to need a stand mixer. You're going to need a straight-edged dough cutter. It's also what we call a bench scraper. Now, this other thing is called a round-edged bowl scraper. You may think, why do I need that? It's kind of like a rubber spatula. It really helps you get that dough out of the bowl, which can be a challenge. You're going to need some sheet pans, either a half or a quarter sheet pans. You need some plastic wrap. You want a tape measure. And then you're going to need 2 large baking stones, preferably rectangular, or baking steels. Steels are really cool, and I got us a couple of those, and you're going to want 2. I'll tell you why later. But they heat wonderfully. It bakes the pizza very evenly, and it reheats really, really better than stones do. And then you're going to need a large pizza peel. You can get your hands on it, like 15 inches or bigger. It just makes your life so much easier when you get a large one. And then just for fun, get a rocking pizza cutter, because that really is going to help you cut the perfect slice.
So many tools.
I know, but it doesn't. doesn't cost that much, and I've got links to all of those. It's kind of fun getting them, and you'll have them forever, and you can make pizza, and everyone's gonna love you. Okay, so now let's move on and let's talk about ingredients, probably the most important thing. First of all, flour. You don't want to go with all-purpose flour. You want to seek out a high-gluten, high-protein flour. You can find them, like the Double O, you can find those in most grocery stores. You can certainly order them online. To get the top quality, the top notch that they use in pizzerias, you can order them, and of course we did, but they only sell them commercially to pizzerias, so they sell them in like bulk. I literally bought a 25-pound bag, and that's one container.
This is one container. We've got 3 more of these bags.
Well, no, we don't, because we've been using them.
This is our 12th pizza.
This is called Power Flour, and it really makes a big difference.
It totally does.
The great thing is that flour will just keep it in an airtight container, and then you've got it. Same thing, another important ingredient is diastatic malt powder. This is really great for what Tony talks about, how since we're doing this in a conventional oven, the key component, or something that's really important with pizza, is you want to get those brown spots.
This helps.
Like you get in the high temperature ovens. Since we don't have that high temperature oven, that will help get the brown. Plus, it just helps in the overall structure of the dough.
We use this with our bagels too.
And we use in the bagels. It's really wonderful. I use it all the time. And then speaking of jumbo. And so that's where we're using ground tomatoes, and we're also using whole tomatoes. This is the brand. If you ever go to a really great pizzeria or a pizza joint, you'll probably see these back in the back.
Sometimes they like make a wall of them.
Yeah, 7-Eleven and
7-Eleven. Oh, that's 7-Eleven.
The company is Stanislaus, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. But anyway. And not only do you order that, but the minimum you can get is 2. I know it's crazy, but what I do is I open it up and it freezes wonderfully. I put them I've got them.
You got them all over the place.
Containers.
There's a bunch in that freezer.
But I've been going through them.
Yes.
And so those are ground tomatoes. If you can't find, again, you're not going to find ground tomatoes at the grocery store, but you can substitute good quality, really quality crushed tomatoes. And then you're going to want to use yes, and you're going to want to use whole tomatoes too. And again, there's another brand, that same brand that has the whole tomatoes.
The same giant container.
This big, but the flavor is so good.
It's so good.
It's amazing.
It makes that classic pizza sauce.
That classic tomato, and it's not cooked, so it's just so flavorful. Okay, so that's it for and then another really important, probably the most important in addition to the flour, is the yeast.
Yes.
You want to make sure you've got. We're just going with active yeast. Again, the whole deal here is low and slow. You want
instant. You want active.
Don't do instant because you want it just to take its time. And what yeast does is it feeds on the sugar. There is like 1 to 3% sugar in the flour. So the yeast feeds on that flour, and after we quickly wake it up with some warm water, then we're going to cool it down and we're going to keep it in the fridge, and it's just going to grow. And what that does is it adds complexity, as Tony says, to the crust. That means it just tastes better, and the structure is better. You get that, you saw that way that crust looks. So anyway, that leads us to our final investment, which is time. You're going to want to give yourself a minimum of 3 days. You could probably do this in 2, but give yourself time. Just set it out and say, I want to serve this to everyone on Saturday, so I'm going to get started on Thursday.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Thursday,
Friday, and Saturday. My brain is like again, so there's something you're going to do on day 1, day 2, and then it all comes together on day 3. So this beautiful dough right here
you can't really see it right
I know
yet.
It's covered, but when we're filming this, we're on day 3. So this is looking beautiful. I'm going to rewind, and we're going to show you what we did on day 1 and then day 2 to make the perfect dough. So we're going to start things off with, logically, a starter. It's also called a pouliche. And what this does is it just starts the yeast doing its thing, and it really ultimately is going to yield a delicious, significantly better crust than you would do without it.
It's kind of like a sourdough starter, maybe?
It's similar. It's the same concept.
Okay.
So here's how we make it. So we're going to use our palm scale, and we're going to measure out 0.13 grams, 0.13. That's like a third of an eighth of a teaspoon of active dry yeast. It's a very small amount. We're going to put that in a small bowl, and then we're going to add, we're going to measure out 47 grams of just cool tap water, and we're going to pour that over the yeast. And then we're going to use our little whisk and whisk it vigorously for about 30 seconds. Now, if the yeast floats to the top, then that means it's dead and you need to get rid of it, go get some fresh yeast and start all over again. Okay, and now we're going to measure out 47 grams of our high protein, high gluten flour, and we're going to just, with a rubber spatula, work that into the yeast water, and just keep doing that until you get almost like a thick pancake batter. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to get some plastic wrap, we're going to cover that, and then we're going to let it sit out for about 18 hours on the counter. Okay, so that was easy, right? Day one?
It was easy for me.
Well, super easy. Now, day two is not much more difficult either. It's really easy. So we're fast forwarded to day two. Now, this is where you get a little more ingredients, and you've got to get those exact measurements. So what we recommend is that you measure everything out first. The one thing that you don't want to do, you want to wait to the very last minute, is the warm water. Because if you measure that warm water out early and then it cools off, by the time you're ready to use it, it's no longer water and the yeast isn't going to like it. So here's how you make the dough. Okay, in a small bowl, we're going to measure out 2.2 grams of the yeast. And then we're going to get the 70 grams, we're going to measure the 70 grams of our warm water, which is about 80 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're going to pour that in over the yeast, and then we're going to whisk it vigorously again for about 30 seconds. Once again, if it floats, it's dead, you need to get some new. And do that for about 30 seconds. And then we're going to, well, first of all, we're going to measure out 453 grams of our high gluten flour, and then we're going to put that into the bowl of our stand mixer, and then we're going to measure out 10 grams of the diastic malt, and then we're going to put that with the flour, turn it on low just to get it nice and combined. Then we're going to measure out 210 grams of cold, preferably ice water, okay? And then with the mixer running on your lowest speed, we're going to carefully pour that water in. You want to reserve, before you pour all that in, reserve about 2 tablespoons of that water, and I'll show you why in just a moment. Then we're going to carefully pour in that yeast water, and this is when you're going to grab that extra 2 tablespoons that you saved and pour that in there just to kind of, if there's any yeast that's stuck to the bowl, that'll get it free, and you pour that into the bowl as well. Okay? Now we're going to let that mix for about 15 seconds, and then we're going to stop the mixer, and that's when we're going to add the pouliche. And pouliche is pretty sticky, it's super tacky, so you can try a rubber spatula, but we find that just dipping your hands in some cold water and just getting it out of the bowl and getting it into the mixer is the easiest way to do that. Continue to mix on low speed for about 1 minute, and at this point the dough should be coming together around the hook. You're going to stop the mixer, use your fingers to pull the dough away from the hook, and then you're going to add the salt. Okay, and then you're going to put the mixer back down, and then you're going to let it go for about another minute, and then you're going to stop the mixer again, and then you're going to add the oil. And then you're going to turn the mixer back on and let it go for, I let it usually go for about 2 minutes. At this point, the dough is not going to be completely smooth, but it's starting to look like a dough. Then you pull out that trusty, it's not the bench scraper, it's your dough scraper, the bowl scraper, and transfer that dough onto your surface, your counter, preferably marble, but don't put any flour. It's going to be an unfloured surface. And then you're going to knead it by hand for 2 to 3 minutes.
That's right, knead it.
And then you're going to cover that with a damp cloth and let it rest for 20 minutes. And then you're going to, this is where you get your bench scraper, and you cut the dough in half, and you're going to want to have, probably going to want to weigh it. You want it to be about 13 to 13 and a half ounces each. You may have a little extra dough that you just pinch off. And then it's time to form them into a really smooth ball. And
Yes.
Wesley has gotten really good at working the dough.
So you take your dough ball and you're just going to tuck it in. You want to tuck it in a few times. This is where you kind of stretch the dough so that it gets super smooth. And don't overstretch it. You don't want to break it. You just want to stretch it, and you keep putting it underneath. Make sure it's completely closed, and then you're going to put that dough onto a sheet pan, all nice and smooth, and then wrap it.
Yeah, you're going to want to wrap it tightly with plastic wrap. And then those are going to go back into the refrigerator,
Yes.
and they're just going to chill, and the yeast is going to keep on eating that sugar, and it's going to be beautiful.
That was day 2. Now we're going to day 3.
We're at day 3, ladies and gentlemen. We're finally here, the big day of the pizza making. So here's the dough. Now, you may see that it's not unusual for little gas bubbles to form. That's normal. We're going to address, we'll get rid of those in a little bit.
And you took this out about 2 hours ago. You wanted to come to room temperature.
That's right. That's right. So the plan for that, remember the day of, you've got some scheduling that you got to think about. So that's 2 hours before we want to roll it out.
And then the pizza, I'm roasting right now. The oven's on. It's set at 500.
We've got it set at 500. So those pizza steels that I showed you earlier that I love, I don't know how I lived without them. You want those to be scorching hot. Obviously, we're trying to emulate a good pizza
Big old
oven.
pizza oven, yeah.
So I put those in the oven. I put it on the top third of grate and then the bottom grate.
third.
So you've got 2 of them.
Now, why do you have 2?
Well, let me say, I did that. You want to do that at least an hour before you're baking. I do it like an hour and a half, so they're good hot.
And you have 2 for...
So I know you may be wondering, isn't 2 unnecessary? You're not doing 2 pizzas. You could. Oh, we didn't talk about that. So if you're making 2 doughs. Today we're just going to be making one
dough, yes.
But that dough will stay in the refrigerator just fine for up to 3 days.
Yeah.
So if you're making 2, then making 1 is best when you're doing this first. So the reason we have 2 stones is because if you've ever noticed in the wood-burning pizza ovens, they're constily turning.
Yeah, and moving it around.
They're moving it around, and that's because you want to get that even crust, the baking on the bottom of the crust to be even.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't do that, there are hot spots and it may burn. Tony suggests the 2 steel method because when you rotate that first, it's hard. First of all, it's hard to spin those around in your oven. But when you bring it to the second steel,
it's a clean surface.
And it's a fresh heat source, and it just helps make it bake evenly.
All right.
Okay, I'm getting hoarse because I'm talking so much.
People have probably fallen asleep.
I know, probably. Well, that's not unusual for me. Okay, so I'm going to move this dough over here. Now,
let's get to the toppings.
Let's make some toppings because that's going to be quick and easy. I'm going to first of all show you. We're going to do something called just infused garlic oil. It adds a little punch of flavor, and it's so easy. This is 2 teaspoons, of minced fresh garlic. That's a 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil. And do this at least a day in advance. So do this on day 2. That took a lot of work. That was easy.
We have some already.
We do. I have some over here
that we
somewhere.
made yesterday, so we'll have some nice, fresh,
infused garlic oil.
Exactly.
So anyways, so that's that. So now let's talk about pepperoni.
So, my favorite thing in the whole world. I'm like, finally, I can do something.
I know.
This is pepperoni in natural casing. I love this, and you want to slice it really thin. It cups up, makes that cute cup that you always see.
So this brand is Boar's Head, and it's easy to find. If you look over in where they have this kind of, like meats like this, you'll find it. I had to search for it, but here in the States, Kroger is one of our hugest supermarkets, and they carry it.
And I'm doing a very thin slice because these little guys pack a lot of grease.
Yeah, but that's, I always say,
it's great,
that's
but
New York.
sometimes it's like, okay, well, that's a lot.
It's a little too
so
much.
So we do it really thin, a nice thin slice. You still get all that wonderful flavor, just a little less grease.
That's right. So
like a New York pizza, you're always blotting it with your napkin.
Wow, that's really greasy, but that's part of the joy.
Experience.
Okay, so now while he's doing that, I'm going to get started on our tomato sauce. And again, this is a no-cook tomato sauce, which is commonly the way it's done in the pizzerias in New York City, and Brooklyn. And,
I'm going to do like maybe 12 of these guys.
In New Jersey. So I've got, these whole tomatoes. I'm going to put this in this sieve so the excess juice will go through. And now I've got another bowl under here. This is called...
where Chris gets messy.
This is where I get a little messy. Yeah. So now these are the whole tomatoes. You want to go with the top notch if you possibly can. And I'm going to get rid of these seeds. And then I'm just going to sort of tear them up with my hands. And if there's any rough spots to the tomatoes, you're going to want to get rid of those. That's why I've got...
you're going to tear them out?
Yeah, that's why I'm using 2 bowls so I can
get rid of the bad ones.
Like this one, well, they're not bad, but this one's got like a little rough end. You don't want to be biting into like tough tomatoes in your pizza. All right, how you doing over there?
I've got my I think I have enough.
Yeah, you do.
For this one pizza.
Yeah.
If not, I'll eat the rest.
You're probably gonna have leftover pepperoni.
Exactly.
You're gonna have leftover a lot of this stuff, but that's okay. That just gives you more. You don't have to make it next time you're gonna make pizza.
And now I'm gonna make the sausage.
This is what this is a sweet fennel sausage mixture that is to die
Y'all,
for.
I love this so much.
I do too.
It's so good. So I've got a pound of, now this isn't just not your store-bought ground pork that you got in the, the freezer.
The package,
right. This is ground pork shoulder. Have your butcher grind a pork shoulder.
You don't have to do that, but we're making the best pizza in the world, right? So
Yes,
why not? So
yes.
just go to your butcher, or do it yourself if you have a meat grinder. Put it on the medium grind, and this is just a pound of ground pork shoulder. You can use regular pork shoulder, pork, but that's better.
All right. So and then I've got my fennel seed. I've got a tablespoon of fennel seed, and I've got a tablespoon of anise seed, and I put those into we just have like an old coffee grinder that we use. Grinding them out, get them just a little finer. You don't have to like do it super long, just make them just a little finer. And then I'm gonna add to that a teaspoon of pepper and a teaspoon of salt and some water, kind of make it a little paste, if you will. And that's a tablespoon of water. There we go. There you go.
Okay.
Go ahead.
That's good. Okay, now here I've got, this is a cup of the ground tomatoes. You could do crushed tomatoes. And to that, I am adding a 1/4 cup of tomato paste. Just go with good quality tomato paste. Here I've got, this is a healthy pinch of sea salt and a healthy pinch of dry of extra virgin olive oil. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna puree this. I know I've got messy fingers, so I gotta clean my, but if you have
Stay away from me.
This is another tool I didn't mention, but this, an immersion blender, this is just gonna make that classic New York style sauce that you always see over there in the big containers that looks so red, vibrant, and delicious.
All right, so and I'm gonna finish up the sausage. So I'm gonna put that mixture, the fennel seed and the anise seed in here with the pork shoulder, the ground pork shoulder, with the pork. And then I've got some honey. Oh, this is 2 tablespoons of honey. It is so,
It's honey, it is the best.
it is so good. It is, I can't even tell you.
So now what I have done while he's working with honey, I have stirred in the whole tomatoes that I broke up with my fingers. If you don't really want your sauce too chunky, but if you like it really, really no chunks at all, then you're gonna have to you could use a knife. But anyway, this is ready to go.
And I'm gonna get my hands dirty here.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get this all mixed together very thoroughly.
Perfect. Now,
wow.
again, this is great to do on day 2 because you love those. You have time to let all of those flavors melt.
Yes.
So I did this yesterday, as well as the garlic oil.
And you did my sausage too.
And we did the sausage yesterday.
You let it sit? Oh, so
the
good.
sausage we did yesterday, but give the sausage at least a couple hours because again, those flavors really start to work together. So we've got all of this. We've got.
This is going to go on the pizza that we make tomorrow.
Right.
All this
that we're doing now. Yeah, because we can't stop making pizza.
Exactly.
Okay, that looks good. We've got this all ready to go. We need to wash our hands, and then it's time to make the pizza. It's pizza time!
I get a little stressed in this part.
I tell you, it takes practice, practice, practice. This, what we're about to do, requires the most amount of practice, and we have just begun to get to a point where we're starting to feel good about it.
Well, comfortable.
And Wesley's really taken over. I love working the dough, but he's really taken a passion to it, and he's getting good at it. He's not to the point yet where he can do that yet, but he's getting close. So anyway, now this is
where you don't want to break it.
Well, yeah, you want to be careful with it, but yet it's a sturdy dough. So
here, you take that off.
You see these gas bubbles, and now it's going to want to stick, and that's okay. You just use your fingers. This takes a little practice. Just use your fingers.
Be careful.
I am, to kind of pull it away. It's going to be all right. It's going to feel like, oh, I'm hurting it, but it's not. This is a sturdy dough.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
And it's good that it's tacky.
That means the more hydrated, the better. The better crust you're going to get.
Careful.
So that means it's.
There you go.
When it's sticky like that, that means it's got a higher water ratio, and that's a good thing.
All right, that's
a little tricky, and that makes you feel a little uneasy. This is another one.
Now you want to keep this side up. You don't want to bend it over. So I'm just going to kind of use my hand.
Now we're going to need to. We're going to obviously now we are going to put this onto a floured surface. So we like to do a combination of semolina, fine semolina flour, and then the flour that we use, the high gluten flour that we made the pizza dough with.
Exactly.
Equal portions. I think I did about a half a cup each.
All right.
So
give me some.
I've already got some made.
Oh yeah, give me that.
So
stuff
you want to have plenty on hand, and you can't have. I really don't think you can have too much of this. It makes life easier.
Yes, I know.
Okay,
yeah,
you got
because this is a sticky. This is a.
It won't be sticky anymore. Now you see our big old paddle here.
No, not really.
Okay, well, this is our big old paddle. This makes life so much easier too, and I love it. And it was not expensive. And we're going to put some of this flour mixture on it as well, which will make sliding it onto the steel or stone much easier.
All right, I'm slowly getting this off of here.
Just work and just keep. Then he's using the bench scraper. That helps you tremendously to get it off there. There you go.
There you go. Get that out of there.
And you're going to flip it.
Not flip it yet. I'm going to put it down and then I get some flour on it and then flip it.
And then flip it.
Okay. There we go. Just want to kind of get it.
And you'll see those gas bubbles start to form. That's completely normal.
That is. Just get it all. I need as much flour under this as possible because I need it to be able to move with me. So you see those bubbles? Just pinch them. Give them a good pinch. And it'll get rid of them. There you go.
And they'll work themselves.
Yeah, they totally work. Okay. All right, so I've got my dough here. I'm going to kind of just start making a rim. A crust rim.
It's going to be the edge.
Yeah, with my fingers.
It's going to make that classic. Remember you saw in the intro this dough. I can already tell
exactly.
It's good.
Yeah, and then I've got a little dough left in here, and that's where I'm just kind of want to spread my fingers, twist and spread.
Twist and spread.
Twist and spread.
You're doing good, Wesley.
I'm so nervous, Chris. I'll let you do the talking.
Okay. Well,
I've got to concentrate.
Again, I can't stress enough, and it's fun making this. And even, like I said, when we first started doing it, and I worked with dough enough. It's not like we've never done it before, but it does have a little bit of a different feel. And you learn as you go, and we're still learning, and that's one of the things that Chef Tony says is that every time you make it, you learn a little something new, and it gets a little better, and you get a little better feel for things.
Get a little stretchy.
Yeah.
And if you do get a hole in it, don't worry, you can just pinch it together.
Yeah, that is something that you do want to be careful about. Is you want to try your hardest not to rip it, because that can become problematic.
I'm going to start slapping my dough.
Oh no!
Yes, so I'm just going to go back and forth.
There you go.
Back and forth. Back and forth. And then I'm going to do this. Get it in my fist.
Yeah. Two fists in the middle.
Yes.
And this is the trickier part because you don't want to tear it. You gotta be really, the first time I was doing that, I tore a little bit of it.
You want to get this.
That is also super important to get that thin interior that is so classic for New York style pizza.
Yes, and you want to get this to about 13 inches.
So I mentioned that a tape measure is a tool that you're going to want to have.
Yeah.
That's one of those tools that you probably already have. You don't have to, but you can eyeball it. But
I'm going to put it on there now.
Okay. So now, again, let me just clear some of this away.
That's all right. All right, there we go.
Okay, and then you can continue to work it once it's on the pizza.
Woo, pizza. What is this called?
This is called a peel.
Pizza peel.
A nice large pizza peel.
All right, you guys.
I know.
Making pizza. All right, I think that's good, Chris. What do you think?
Let's see. That's about 12, so let's stretch it just a hair more.
All right.
And I got my pizza. Another thing I did, this is all in a timeline on the blog post, so we've got everything mapped out for you. But you never want to put like really cold fresh pizza sauce out of the fridge on your pizza dough. That's a no. So I let this sit out for a couple hours beforehand.
All right.
That looks perfect. Now, this is, again, you don't want to over sauce.
Yeah.
You don't want to over sauce, and you don't want to over cheese.
And don't go crazy because you don't want You want to keep this bare of any sauce or cheese. You want to have a nice crust.
And the best way to do this is just to start in the middle and then start working your way out, kind of in a circular motion. Okay, so now that's evenly, so now after every step, it's a good idea to just do this. Give it a little bit of shake.
Make sure it's mobile.
Keep it mobile on that wheel.
Yes.
That's where that flour and the semolina will really help out. Now again, I would say that was about 3/4 of a cup of sauce that I put on. We keep a little extra on hand. Now this is mozzarella. We definitely recommend whole milk mozzarella.
Mm-hmm. So you got just like fresh mozzarella.
I get fresh mozzarella, whole milk fresh mozzarella, and it's difficult to grate that. So I just put it in my food processor and chop it. And you're probably going to have a little more than you need. Again, resist the temptation to overdo it, which is hard for us because that's kind of what we do.
I'm getting this, scooching it all over.
Yeah, just do a good scooching.
I'm scooching.
And the bagged mozzarella is okay in a pinch, but they add additives to that so it won't stick, and it just doesn't make it as creamy and as melty as possible. You could use the part skim mozzarella as well, but we find the whole milk is just luxurious. Okay, now you do that.
I got the sausage.
Now this is sausage.
Pepperoni. I got
the pepperoni. This sausage is, you've noticed, is not cooked, but it's about to be. We're going to put it in that blazing hot oven, and it will cook just perfectly. So just make little pinches of this and fill it to the top.
There we go. Look at that.
That's amazing. Okay.
All right.
Now this is we're about to do the really fun part. This is where you're going to learn with your oven.
Perfect.
The timing. With our oven, we do ours 5 minutes on the top rack, and then we turn it, and then we do it 4 minutes on the lower rack. You want those brown spots to appear. You don't want to overdo it because you don't want the bottom to burn, but this should be good. So are we ready?
We're ready.
I'm going to get my timer going. I got 5 minutes ready to go. Okay.
Okay, I'm shaking.
Okay. Here we go.
Okay. Give me a little bit of that.
There, you can bring this out. It's good if you have two people.
Give me a little more room. Face. There you go. I want to see the end. Get right to where I want it to go, and then just slip it on there. There we go. Yay! Oh, that you should have seen the first one we did.
It's fun. So in 5 minutes, we're going to take it and put it on the low one. Okay.
We're so close.
We're getting, okay, we got 7, 6, 5, 4,
3, 2, 1.
All right, here we go.
Come on.
Oh, look at that baby.
There you go.
Now we're going to just gently turn
it. Yeah, and then slide it on out here.
Slide on. Be careful with your tongs. You don't want to hurt that crust.
Okay.
Now we're going to go down here on the bottom one.
Can we give her a little space?
Yep.
There you go.
And just slide her on.
There you go.
And now we're going to let her go for another 4 minutes. She's
then
looking awesome.
We're going to bring her out. We're going to eat it. Right?
Yes. The time has come. All right, let's bring this baby out. Oh, she's beautiful.
Wow. All right, just slide her right here.
Come on. Oh, look at that.
Oh.
That.
Y'all.
The smell. Wowzers. See, you got some browning right here. Right here.
Did you just slobber?
Yeah, I just salivated. All right, I'm gonna hit it with a little dried oregano.
Oh, you guys. And it's just settling down in.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that crust.
I know.
You know, it may not be as large as those giant New York pizzas that you get from, on the street.
This is some grated Parmesan. No, it's not.
But that crust is undeniably
New York
crust. New York pizza. Oh.
Yeah. Now, I'm gonna give it a little. So this garlic oil adds just a little punch of flavor. And just kind of drizzle it around. I like to put a little on the crust.
I'm so excited.
This also gives it a couple seconds just so it's not like
we're gonna
molten.
Take one for the team though, I think.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Now he loves to do the old rock and roll.
Well, I don't know. We'll see.
He doesn't really. He's very gentle with it. I mean, a lot of times there you go.
There you go.
This takes a little practice too.
There we go. I'm gonna do 6 slices for this.
Perfect.
Here we go. I gotta put my weight into it.
Oh, look at the.
Oh, you guys, I'm dying.
Crust.
Oh. Here we go. One last one. Okay.
Roof of my mouth is really excited.
Oh, wow, yeah. Ooh, that is, you know what? I don't know.
Let's let it cool.
do it. No, let's do it. Come on, we'll blow on it.
All right.
Look at this. I just want to see what the underside of that looks like. Oh, wow. You guys, if you can see that over there, because I don't want to lose all my toppings.
Oh, it's perfect.
Yeah, watch out. Blow on it.
Are you going to do the old New
Here,
York?
look at that. Yes, gotta get down there.
You hear that kind of crunch?
Crunch it. Oh, okay. Oof. All right, take a very small piece.
Yep. Oh my gosh. Oh. Why did I not get a plate? Because New York.
So we got this right here.
And New York is like.
If we had a paper plate, it'd be perfect.
It would be just like.
You guys, I don't know if you can see this, but it is.
The bottom is just like, it's slightly browned.
I'm dying. I'm dying. I'm dying. How are you? Are you okay? All right, I need to let this cool down because what I want to give this a million, let's say 5 million. 5 million% Luna proof.
That's our first ever 5 million.
You guys, make New York pizza. Give yourself 3 days. Get, spend a little bit. Just,
It's one of those special things. It's TLC, but you invest a little bit in it, and then you'll make it, and your friends and family, and get the family involved. Like, get your loved ones involved. There's
Here
so much
comes
fun.
Flo.
And get Flo involved. Flo comes in every time. All right, you guys, we're in a New York state of mind.